Every great journey starts with a single step here. We make learning English simple, motivating, and full of progress you can see and feel every day. Let's grow your skills together, one lesson at a time. Mary Whitcomb was born in the summer of 1931, in a stone cottage at the edge of Fenwick-on-Hill, a speck of a village in the North Yorkshire countryside. Her mother, Agnes, was the type to hum while kneading bread. Her father, Thomas, had hands like knotted rope from decades in the fields. From the window over Mary's crib, you could see a single crooked willow tree by the stream. Her mother said it was a lucky tree, though Mary would one day come to doubt it. The war came when Mary was 8. She remembered the sirens in the night more than the days themselves. Fenwick was far from the bombs, but rationing was the same here as in London. Her father left for factory work in Leeds, coming home only on Sundays. Her older brother, Henry, joined the RAF and sent letters in tidy handwriting until, one day, he didn't. Mary never saw her mother cry in public, but she found her once in the pantry, sitting on an upturned crate with her face in her apron. After the war, life tried to return to normal, but for Mary, the quiet felt heavier. She left school at 14 to help at the village shop. The shopkeeper, Mrs. Briggs, liked her for her memory. Mary could remember exactly how much butter or tea each household bought, even weeks apart. She also noticed things, the way old Mr. Carver lingered by the tins because he couldn't afford meat that week, or how Mrs. Dalton's hands trembled when she counted coins. At 17, Mary met William Hart, a railway apprentice with a lopsided smile and coal dust in the seams of his skin. They met at the harvest dance, where he asked her to dance twice in a row. By Christmas, they were walking together to the willow tree most evenings. William was full of plans. Save enough to buy a motorbike, maybe even a little house in York someday. Mary liked how certain he sounded, but certainty was a fragile thing. In the winter of 1950, William left to work in the shipyards in Hull, promising he'd send for her. Weeks turned into months. Then came a letter, not from him, but from his sister, saying William had been killed in an accident at the docks. Mary walked to the willow tree and stayed there until frost crept into her boots. She didn't cry until she got home, where no one could see. The years that followed were quieter but not gentler. Mary stayed in Fenwick, caring for her aging parents until they passed. She took over their cottage, now a little worn, and worked part-time at the post office. People saw her as steady, dependable, someone you could trust with your spare key or your secrets. But there were nights she sat by the cold hearth, wondering if life would ever turn in her favor again. In the spring of 1964, it did, at first. A newcomer arrived in Fenwick, Richard Davies, a widowed schoolteacher from Leeds with a daughter named Elsie. He was polite, well-read, and knew how to make Mary laugh without trying too hard. They married within a year. Mary took on Elsie as her own, even when the girl tested her with sharp words and colder silences. For a while, life felt stitched together again. But Richard had debts he hadn't spoken of, and habits he'd kept hidden. By the winter of their third year, the bills piled up, and so did his temper. Mary learned to read his moods the way she once read ration books, carefully, with dread. One night, after a shouting match that woke half the lane, he left and never came back. The law was slow to untangle the marriage. Mary kept the cottage, but only by taking on every odd job she could find. By the late 1870s, Fenwick was shrinking. Young people left for cities, the shops closed one by one, and the fields turned to scrub. Mary stayed. She kept her vegetable patch, nursed neighbors through bad winters, and sat by the willow tree when she could. Her hair went white early, her hands stiff from years of work. Then came Elsie, now grown, on a rainy night in 1983, holding a baby boy and nothing else. Mary took them in without a question. That child, Jack, became the light of her later years. She taught him to read by the fire, to fish by the stream, to listen to the wind through the willow leaves. Mary never remarried. She didn't leave Fenwick, though she had chances. She lived through blackouts, miners' strikes, foot and mouth outbreaks. She buried friends, then the willow itself, after a storm in 1999 tore it down. People said it was just a tree, but Mary kept a piece of its trunk by the hearth until the day she died. When Jack cleared the cottage after her passing, he found her diaries, 50 years of small handwriting in old exercise books. They were full of the village's doings, weather notes, recipes, and in between, quiet lines about love, loss, and the ways a person endures.